Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you all who all are joining us globally. I am Parth Varu, Event Program Manager for Microsoft Reactor India, and I welcome you all to our today's show, Teams Light by Kamalashri. And then before we begin, I'll go through our code of conduct. Please go through our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together. So please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in a way you all engage. Yes, obviously, we encourage you all to participate. Please drop all your questions in the chat section. And now I would like to bring Kamal, who is the host for our session. Hey, hi Kamal, how are you doing?
I'm good, Path. Thank you so much for inviting me.
We connecting right back after the student summit now again.
Indeed, indeed. It's always pleasure to be back at Reactor and be hosting or conducting sessions. So it's always a pleasure.
Thanks to and good to know that. So, Kamal, what do we have for today's session?
Oh, yeah, today we have something interesting where I'm kind of going to introduce something about Teams Toolkit Tuesday, where we're going to talk about some core concepts about Teams Toolkit. And we do have a surprise session by Lee, who's going to take us entirely a different turn by talking about how to crack the code. I mean, basically, the strategies for navigating the Microsoft software engineering interview. So that's something we should definitely not miss if you are someone into getting into the IT field or how to crack or how to kind of stand out in the community. I think this is one of the session you should definitely watch. So looking forward to it.
Wow, super excited. The floor is all yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Parth, again. So, yeah, firstly, welcome you all to another session of Teams Elite, in which, as I mentioned, I would be talking about Teams Toolkit Tuesday. So, this would be a bi weekly series live every Tuesday. And we will be discussing about Microsoft Teams app, how to build one, what are the bugs, what are the features, or what are the challenges you have, something related to more of building apps in Teams. And also, we will have sessions from experts being in industry for almost 20 years, 15 years, sharing their experience, whether it could be community based, interview based, or how to kind of uh, follow a few tips and tricks or what strategies to be followed. So definitely that is also something which goes along in your career. So not to delay more, let me first introduce the first speaker. So I have Ali Stott. He's a senior software engineer at Microsoft, and he serves as the principal cloud advocate manager at Microsoft. And also, he's a professor, associate professor at University College London, where he kind of leads with this creating innovative solutions, drive digital transformation in education. So his main focus is more on the education. And I see Lee is passionate about advocating technology education and has worked extensively to promote STEM learning and digital skill development around the world. And he has also collaborated with governments, university, industry partner, and the list keeps going on. So he also has created various programs and initiatives that empower students and professionals to thrive in digital age. Someone very much needed and looking for guidance like this and to understand more from his experience and learn from him. So today he'll be talking about how or what are the strategies for navigating the Microsoft software engineering interview. So thanks for joining us, Lee. Stage is all yours. I'm not going to take too much of your time talking about what you're going to cover. I want it to be discussed by you. So stage is all yours. Thanks for being
Thank
again here.
thank you, Camille. Great to be here. So, welcome everyone to Teams Elite. This is an amazing opportunity and program which Camille's been working with the Reactors team, really trying to introduce students and startups to the Teams Toolkit. Teams Toolkit is a really exciting area of modern development. So, anybody who is looking at learning with .NET skills and building an application that utilizes Teams, which many of us around the world utilize as our comms tool, it's a great opportunity. So, I'm glad to be here. Today, as Camille has said, I'm going to be talking about how to crack the code. And this is really looking at the skills and resources that you need as students and aspiring developers to get a role within Microsoft. And I'm also going to be talking about some of the opportunities, some of the tool sets and resources that we have as Microsoft to really allow you to strive in your career. So thank you. So I'm going to open up my slides. So if I could have my slides on the screen, that'd be great. Excellent. So as Camille said, I'm Lee Stott. I'm a Principal Cloud Advocate Manager at Microsoft. I'm also a professor at University College London. So a lot of the guidance and experience and resources that are going to be in the following slides really come from both my experience as being in Microsoft, but also my experience as an educator in working with students to try and give you the best opportunity in gaining that role within employment. So if we look at it as Microsoft, our mission is to empower every person on the planet to achieve more. It's a very simple mission statement, and it's a mission statement that goes across everything that we do as Microsoft, from our tools, our technologies and services. And as Microsoft, we really want to give you, as a student community, access to those latest resources. And this really comes down to three key pillars. So as Microsoft, looking at you as students and learners, we want you to discover amazing resources. We want you to utilize things like the Microsoft Learn Student Hub, the Microsoft Reactors, which you're all here today, and then also utilize things like GitHub and build on our curricula or build portfolios and showcases. The next stage is really around engagement. So once you've discovered these resources, it's really about how you start to utilize them. So every student on the planet who has a registered academic email address has access to Azure for Student. As Microsoft, we run lots of competitions and challenges and hackathons, which we want you to take part in. Again, we support institutions with things like Azure DevTools for Teaching. This really gives you the resources to learn within your course and curricula. And then finally, we want you to grow. We want you to grow your careers and aspirations. And as Microsoft, we have amazing competitions like Imagine Cup, and we run amazing events like the Student Summit, which was a few weeks ago, and Microsoft Build. And this is where us and our team really demonstrate to you what the latest technologies are and how you can be part of this. And community is key to everything we do. We have the events like the Reactor event, but we also run Microsoft Student Ambassadors. And we want students to join that Student Ambassador program to then run these three pillars on your campus with fellow students. So how they can discover, engage, and grow in these resources. The Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador program is absolutely amazing. Number one, it's your first foot in the door of Microsoft. And this is why I really wanted to cover this today is, we're talking about employability and opportunities. And as a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, you get to work with amazing advocates, you get to build amazing solutions, and you have access to amazing resources. So there's lots of exclusive benefits like access to M365, Azure Credit, Visual Studio, swag and resources to be able to run events. And it's really about how we want students to build and operate and run activities and events on their campuses. We want you to be the next advocates and community leaders to really lead Microsoft and its engagement with those communities. And we want you to have amazing impact by doing that, so that when you come to do your internships or come to apply for a role at Microsoft, you have proven experience, both from a technology perspective, so how to program, how to use tools, services, and resources, but also from the soft skills aspect, communication, collaboration, participation, growing audiences, growing communities, building open source. So these are real key aspects that we want students to demonstrate. So let's talk about some of the resources. So as I said, under the Discover stage, we have things like the Microsoft Learn Student Hub, GitHub Curricula, and Reactors. And this is really about you starting your career. So the Learn Student Hub is a resource for all students, which gives you access to free certification and skilling. So again, if you're interested in M365 and Teams development, you can do those fundamental exams for free. There's lots of resources there around careers and next steps and what learning pathways do you need to take to really build your skills and knowledge in this technology area. Again, you might find interest in other areas like AI or cloud computing or data science. And again, there's lots of resources there. The Microsoft Reactors are an amazing community event, and we have 12 reactors across the globe. We're currently here in the India reactor out of Bangalore, but again, we have reactors that support all communities across the globe. So again, these are live events, recorded events, on-demand events, which are available to you as the community. And this is about also having the opportunity of being a community member and showcasing at the reactors. So one of the things that we're working with Team Elite is, how do we showcase those students who have done amazing projects and amazing resources? Will they be on the reactors so they can turn around at the end of the session and say, I've got a blog, I've got a reactor session, I've got all this experience now to take into my next role. So the engagement stage, this is really about you actually doing something with the tools, technologies, and resources that you have available. So we have Azure for Student and Azure DevTools for Teaching. And this is really around giving you access to the most appropriate tools and resources for you to then prove your skills and competencies. So as a student, all you need is an academic email address, and you can validate Azure for Student, and you get $100 of free credit, 25 free services, which are going to be completely free forever, including web apps, and access to learning resources. Institutions can also get access to Azure DevTools for Teaching, which provides these resources for all students within the university. And again, this is completely free if the university has a license agreement with Microsoft. So a great resource that is there for universities to capitalize upon. The final stage is really about grow. And this is what this session is about. It's about, how do you grow your next steps? So you've been a student, you've gained access to some of these resources or the learning. You maybe have some form of Microsoft certification today because that is free to students. And it's now, what do you do next? This is really where competitions and our Microsoft startup programs fit. So if we look at competitions, Microsoft runs a competition called the Imagine Cup. This is like the world's premier software development competition. The winners of this competition win cash prizes. They get to meet Satya Nadella, who is our CEO at Microsoft. It's an amazing opportunity. We've literally just done the worldwide finals last week. So all the worldwide final teams will now be going to Build, to the Microsoft conference in May, and that's where the worldwide finals will be held. It's an amazing opportunity, not only from networking, but the ability to showcase your skills, technologies. And if you are interested in becoming a startup, it's a great way of getting visibility across the ecosystem. So you might not want to have a full-time job. You might want to go to be a startup. And this is where Microsoft Startup Founders Hub really is important. This is an opportunity for you as a startup to develop and grow your business, have access to Microsoft resources, mentors, guidance, resources, and support, and also access to a wider network of venture capitalists and investment funds. So if you don't want to go immediately into a job, we offer that route as a startup to support you. So where did we all start? This is the start of Microsoft. This is Bill Gates, Steve Allen, back in the day when they were just really passionate about learning and innovating. And this is what still is core to Microsoft's ethos. We are really interested in teaching people and learning new technologies and innovating on those technologies. And it's not just learning new technology, it's learning about society, it's learning about aspects of diversity and inclusivity. And this is really important to the concepts of Microsoft. And again, it's about how we've grown. We started as that little scrappy startup and now turned into a £750 billion organization with over 140,000 employees across 120 countries. So a true global scale organization. The breadth of scale for Microsoft is absolutely huge. So here's just like some high level numbers. In terms of devices, we have over 1.3 billion Windows devices now. We've got 500 million devices being protected and secured. We've got 17.2 million worldwide connected broadband services, which is just staggering. And then 221 million resources around the globe. So it's huge. It's just a massive, massive organization. And what's really key about Microsoft is its growth mindset. Growth mindset is so important to Microsoft. We have two mentalities of mindset, and this is really around the growth of Microsoft and how we're surviving and growing. So we want all our teams, all our staff to have what we call a growth mindset. And this is really to, number one, reflect on when things go bad, be able to document them concisely, be able to explain what were the lessons learned, be able to learn from criticism, find lessons and inspiration in others, and really embrace challenges. You know, we all work in technology. I think every day something goes wrong. It's technology, but it's about how we embrace that change, how we look at those opportunities, how we build new ideas. So honestly, this is really, really important to you if you want to get a job within technology. This is a rapidly changing industry, hugely changing. It's changed, last couple of weeks, just in terms of AI announcements, they're on a daily basis. So it's really about how do you grow and how do you get that aspiration to learn from those changes. So growth mindset from a Microsoft perspective is really built across these three pillars about customer obsession. We want customers to succeed. We want to bring those solutions. It's about being diverse and inclusive. We've got 140,000 employees across 120 countries. I have teams in Australia, the US, Africa. Again, that's a massive diverse population. Again, our customers are massively diverse. They have access to different devices, different connectivity, different resources, and different tools. And the final piece is one Microsoft. How does Microsoft in its entirety act as one Microsoft? 140,000 staff across multiple entities and organizations. How do we present ourselves as one Microsoft? Really about shared goals and missions. And these are really important aspects that will be discussed in any interview or any opportunity that arises in Microsoft. Is how do you demonstrate that growth mindset and these three key pillars? So let's look at the types of roles that are available in Microsoft. If you're interested in a full-time job, we have the following real key area pillars. So we have development engineering, so pure software engineering, which are really made up of two areas. We have program managers who are responsible for the implementation of a product or a service, and they manage that product and service. And then we have the engineering team, so the software engineers who are building the actual technology of the services, working to that backlog, reporting back to the PMs on their progress. We have customer-facing technologies, and these are really various roles and very country dependent on how the country is set up. So they might be things like technical support, it might be pre-sales, it might be technical account management. We then have data science roles, and these roles are really around the data science, artificial intelligence, and machine learning areas. And then we also have hardware teams. Microsoft produces lots of hardware, like Microsoft does own Xbox. I know it does shock you, but Microsoft and Xbox are the same organization. We have people who are building the future Xbox series. So we have both mechanical engineers, electrical engineers who are doing system design, UX design. We build Surface devices, so laptops, tablets, etc. We also build some server infrastructure and network infrastructure as well. So lots of different roles within the networking and hardware sections within Microsoft. And again, all these roles are really supported by research opportunities, which is supported by Microsoft Research. And they're doing our future works, which may become product in subsequent years. So they're the full-time roles which Microsoft offers. Now, if you're interested in internships, I'm just really going to focus on these three areas. So development engineering, so we have the software engineers and we have the program managers. The data science, AI, machine learning are really around PhD level from an internship opportunity. These roles typically go into Microsoft Research or into the product groups and are very much focused on those people who have master's or PhD levels. And then we have the hardware side, which is mechanical and electrical engineering. So again, we're very much STEM focused from an engineering technology perspective, but Microsoft does have roles for people who are not technical. So we have like sales and marketing roles, and media roles. Because this is a technical session, I'm going to focus on the technical aspects of a software engineering type role. And what we're going to do now is talk through some of those aspects around going for an interview. So the standard Microsoft online application process is you go to microsoft.com/university, and all our roles are advertised at that address. That address actually translates to careers.microsoft.com/university. And on the career site are full-time roles, intern roles, and specific student-facing roles. You submit an online application. So it's simply just an online form, which you fill in and complete. That's your resume. You know, that's a link to both your LinkedIn profile. So again, when you're actually applying, think about key things like, is your LinkedIn profile up to date? Is your GitHub repository up to date? Does it clearly represent who you are? Is it talking about those projects and experiences that you've had? So the first round is that the recruiter will review the resumes. They will then schedule the first round of interviews. These are typically a 30-minute telephone-based interview with a blend of technical and personal questions, looking at, you know, your skills and competencies. And this is really just to reflect, is your resume up to date? Is it accurate? Is it what you've said valid and appropriate? The next stage is really, once you go through that, is a set of final round interviews. And this is really where it's going to be based around 2 to 4 virtual interviews with the team. And this could be across different managers. This could be around, you know, how do you work as a team? How do you work collaboratively? How do you work on software engineering projects? What's your code design? Again, this will vary, but it's typically 2 to 4 virtual interviews. And then once you're successful, the offers are made. So typically you have around 2 weeks to decide if you want to take the offer, and then the offer is accepted, and hopefully you're then on board and join Microsoft and you start your career with an amazing technology company. So it's a very, very streamlined process, very straightforward. And again, you might have seen recruiters at your specific universities, etc. But again, you know, this is the standard process to apply. So let's look at some of the key things around interviews. So number one, everyone is nervous going to an interview, even the interviewer. So believe me, interviewers get nervous around doing interviews. Number two, be prepared. You know, the more prepared you are for an interview or for any test or for any exam, the better you will do. Number three is look at what resources and what key things that you need to point out or make note of, or make note to the interviewer in those exams or in that assessment. And then number four is what to do after the interview. You know, don't just walk away from an interview and go, oh, I did really well or I didn't really bad. Always reflect upon things. Again, it's a great example of growth mindset. So number one, what should you do? So really, you know, the first thing is an interview is more around understanding who you are. You know, are you a personal person? Can you have a conversation? You know, what are your enjoyments and hobbies? Again, always think about what the interview is that you're going to. So if you're going for a software engineering interview, and you know the description says you must have a knowledge of C# or .NET or Python, always just polish up on those skills, because there will be a question that the interview asks you around a specific aspects of that role. So please, you know, look at things like operating system concepts, algorithms, data structures. Again, you know, always be prepared that if it's a technical role, you will be asked some form of technical question. Also, make sure that you have questions that you want to ask the interviewer. This is so important. The number of interviews you go to where it's like, do you have any questions? You know, no response. So always have some questions. Again, read the actual job advert or the offer, you know, the actual opportunity, and build some questions around that, you know. So let's look at some of the things we talked about already. You know, how diverse is the team that I'm going to be working with? What technologies will I be utilizing? How can I best show my skills and talents? Lots of really simple questions that you can ask, but will have meaningful impact. Number two, being prepared. So first of all, computer science and programming is a skill. Okay. Things like edge cases really matter. Things like testing of code really matter. Things like optimization and performance really matter. So be able to either be able to demonstrate that or to at least question or show examples of this. Things like time and complexity and algorithms and data structures are the key foundations and fundamentals. Honestly, if you can program, we can probably teach you any language in 2 weeks. If you understand the fundamentals and concepts, you will be really scalable and adaptable. Again, if you write on your CV, I'm an expert in C sharp, you will no doubt be tested to what level you perceive an expert to be. Our advice is always build depth in one language, be very competent in that language, and be able to demonstrate that you understand that language. Talking about code documentation, code cleanliness, optimization, testing. Again, the ability to read and use other people's code is like so key. And if you can demonstrate that you've done open source projects or worked on GitHub repos and you've documented your code effectively, you've got test plans, or you've got GitHub actions running out that code, you've got automated deployment, all these examples go a long way. Going forward, so as Microsoft, you might not be successful at the interview. You might come back and have massive reflections. As Microsoft, we're always looking to hire great talent. We're a massive organization. We're one of the world leaders. We want the best people. And people are our best resource. So we want to invest and support people. Again, make sure you go into that relaxed, comfortable. Make sure you've done your research so you know what to expect. And, if you don't get it, don't worry. Not everyone is successful first time, but reflect upon where you feel things didn't go well and reply again. Again, interviews are only part of the journey. So once you've gone through that interview and you think, oh, that was amazing, or didn't do very well, just think about what the next opportunities are. What did you learn? How can you take that forward? Also, always ask that question. Make sure when you get the feedback back from the interview, go back and ask further questions. Some interviews are allowed to do that to actually understand, what was the key feedback areas? What do you need to improve upon? What areas let you down, or which areas did you do well in? Even if you're successful, going back for feedback is always a really good idea to do, because again, it shows that growth mindset. You want to take feedback from the experience you went through. Yes, you were successful, but could you have done it even better? So the key thing around Microsoft is really around diversity and inclusivity. We want to welcome everyone to Microsoft. And this is a mantra that we use. We say, come as you are and do what you love. And really, coming to work is going to be most of your life. So you want to come to work to do something that you really do love. And again, technology is an amazing opportunity. And Microsoft is an amazing opportunity. I absolutely love it. And I hope, I see some of you soon, either as ambassadors, get your foot in the door, as I say, or as an intern or a full-time employee. So huge thank you for sharing this time with me. And here's some great resources to really help you get started. I'm going to leave these resources up while people may have questions.
Thanks, Lee. I think that was some valuable insight. Wish I had when I was doing my college. I had these kind of ambassador programs or the kind of advices that I get. Usually, I when I gave my interviews, I still remember my initial days. I was so nervous to even ask question back or even do a follow up, even if it was a failure or anything, just to let them know of what I have learned from this process or where I could fit. So definitely those were the good points that you suggested. I think if we kind of follow that, definitely that will give that growth mindset irrespective of what interview you attend or which technology, because I think technology keeps on changing. So it's not that you always have to stick to one tech and be a pro in it. Today you might be doing XYZ, tomorrow it might be something else. So that growth mindset and following few things, guidelines, I think that's what is going to stick a very long way. And
Definitely. And I just saw the chat in the chat. So 410 said, we met during the
yeah,
Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador meetup in Amsterdam. So great to see you again.
indeed, indeed.
And this is the massive benefit, so Fours was an ambassador. He's now gone on to be an ambassador alumni. And
Oh,
honestly, you build these relationships, you build these opportunities. And again, honestly, it is an amazing opportunity for most students to get that meet and greet within Microsoft and then see what the opportunities are, because Microsoft is so vast. Honestly, it's a huge organization.
indeed. I'm sure Forsten, I'm not sure about the name, he's really benefited out of all the sessions that he's been attending and following you in all these MLSA alumni or the MLSA meetups. So yeah, thanks. And also got to know about the technical behavior or the skills that actually Microsoft looks for in a candidate. So you kind of listed down what are the process uh, and how one can really benefit. So thank you, Lee, so much for this insightful session. And I'm going to post all these links. And yeah, I have few questions from you, so I'm just going to pick few of them. Now, as a student, always they're kind of confused which tech to follow, or should I go ahead with a passion, or should I go ahead with a particular skill that currently the industry is looking for? So, for example, they've been asking about chat GPT. So, this is something in era. So, should I go with that? So, what would your suggestion be or take for university students? It should be more of a passion based or more of the current trend?
Great question. So, we are a technology company and technology is evolving at a huge rate. So, number one, it's fundamentals, understand the fundamentals. Again, things like chat GPT, it's a great tool, but are you understanding the fundamentals of prompt-based engineering, things like semantic kernel, things like, the LLM weights and temperatures? So, be specific in what you're wanting to learn and why, but then also be able to reflect upon that in either an application or a GitHub repo or portfolio to say, I'm really interested in chat GPT because of the following areas, because it's such a wide area. So try to be as specific as possible, number one. Again, try and focus depth in a single area. When you see CVs where people go, I'm an expert in Python, Java, C Sharp, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, okay, so no one could be an expert in everything. Try and focus on being an expert in one thing or a good level in one thing. Because again, when you go to lots of technical interviews, you will actually be given the choice. It's usually like, create me some code to do X using your favorite language. And you can choose the language that you would like to use. So try not to master everything, fundamentals, and at least one solid thing.
Definitely. I would also suggest the same thing because getting your fundamental rights, basic rights, all the language follows that as the ground principle, and then there's something extra getting built on it. So keep yourself updated, be a part of community. This era is more of community, open source, learning new tech, getting to know things. So just follow the trend and see where you fit and what innovative solution you can come up with. So yeah, that was definitely a great insight, Lee. Would you like to share some more details about it, or in
Yeah, I think
general you would love to share any other details that you're doing, your work you're doing, you want people to be involved in it or anything as such?
yeah, cool. So my focus within Microsoft is around low code. So it's Power Platform, Power BI, and Microsoft tooling, specifically for students and what we call rising developers. So people who are reskilling or relearning. So if you look at Power Platform today, it's a very new product. It's the fastest growing Microsoft product ever been released. So there's millions of users now using Power Platform. And it's really got two different audiences. We have an audience of citizen developers. So take people like business administration or admin people who are just wanting to automate their processes. But then we also have pro developers. So people who are first-class code developers. They're using VS Code, they might be writing JavaScript or C Sharp or .NET, and they want to really enhance that experience. So my team's focus is really around how do we get more computer science students using low code. And if you think about the opportunities there, it's things like hackathons. We did a hackathon recently where we literally set a task of an end-to-end scenario. We said we want students to build this end-to-end scenario of a web app, a middleware database, backend application. And we utilized low code, no code for this. So it was like Power Platform as the applications, but then the students built React, Vue, JavaScript websites. So they built native code back to APIs. So again, this is where it's really interesting, is that something like that with a hackathon previously would have probably taken you 3 days to build something. We had teams who were building things in 45 minutes. And they were like, oh my God, this is amazing. I've got a proof of concept and it works. Now I'm going to refine it. Now I'm going to add additional code. Now I'm going to add this layer. So that's the bit I get really excited about, is end-to-end scenarios where students can demonstrate different technologies. Microsoft Graph and Teams Toolkit is another great area where you might be building a game, but you're going to use Teams Toolkit and the live SDK. So now you can play a game within Teams with someone else. But it's all based around those different technologies and how they've come together. So that's my passion area. And I think that's what I want students to think about, is don't just create binware projects, create projects that are portfolio projects. And then when someone says to you, what can you do? Look at my portfolio on GitHub. These are end-to-end scenarios, and it could be JavaScript, or it could be C Sharp, or it could be Python, it could be low code, it could be full code. So that's what I'd like to see more of.
Definitely, Lee. So yeah, I've posted all your social handles in the chat. So if people are interested, would love to discuss more. So definitely, you got to get a lot of emails and pings on your social handles asking for questions. So once again, Lee, thank you so much for being on the show. It was great having you here discussing a lot of things. It was kind of a refreshment for me, refreshing back those days when I used to attend interviews and a lot of things that wish I had. So I'm really happy these days generation people are going to learn a lot of things from you. So glad to have you here again. And thank you, Lee.
Thank you.
All right. So moving on to the next session, we have the speaker Narasimha Perumal, who's an MVP, and he's also a co-founder, experienced with demonstrated history of working in computer software industries. He's skilled in Microsoft Dynamics, Microsoft products, group policy, SSO, and Office 365. So he's been part of the Teams Elite series from the beginning. So his session will be more on the Teams app deployment, how you have built using it, and a better understanding of provisioning Azure resources, deploy your code to Azure, publishing. So all those tips, tricks, and what are the minute factors that you need to consider when you're deploying apps, Microsoft Teams app. So thanks for joining in, Nasima. The stage is all yours. Um, yeah, there you go. I think you're on mute, Nasima.
Is it okay now, Kamal?
Yeah, it's nice. It's fine.
Okay, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks all for joining my session. So today we will be speaking about how you can deploy a Teams app into Azure and then finally publish that Teams app into your Microsoft 365 tenant. So I'm not having a large number of slides. I will be walking you through the agenda and then steps and prerequisites, and then we will be jumping straight into the demo. So for the agenda today, we will be first building a simple Teams app which has a tab alone. That tab is provisioned as a static web app in Azure storage, and then we will be publishing that into the team store, and we will be using it. And finally we will be having some details on how you can manage apps in Microsoft Teams admin center, like what are the admin controls available, what are the security controls available, how you can manage all your apps, and how you can customize the pinned apps in your Microsoft Teams toolbar. So to first start with, you need Visual Studio Code, and then you need to have Node.js v16 or version 18, and then to test your Teams app, you need a Microsoft 365 tenant with the side loading enabled. During the demo, I will show you how you need to enable the side loading. And finally, to publish all the cloud resources, you need a cloud Azure subscription. You can either try Microsoft Azure free subscription also. So this is the steps we are going to follow. First, we will be creating a simple Teams tab app from Visual Studio Code, and then we will be provisioning the required resources in Azure, and then we will be deploying the app into the cloud resource, Azure cloud resource, and finally we are going to publish that into the Teams store. The beauty here is that to do all these steps, I will not be moving multiple screens. I will be just using the Microsoft Teams toolkit alone. That's the beauty of this demo. So let us jump into the demo. So I'm on the Microsoft Visual Studio Code. The first step is that I have to install Microsoft Teams toolkit. So I'm going to search for toolkit, Microsoft Teams toolkit. Here we go. And this toolkit, this extension, I have already installed it. So it is showing me only the uninstall option. So now I am going to the Teams toolkit. So the first thing first. So we are going to get, I am going to use the getting started page. So first I want to check whether my environment is ready to use Microsoft Teams toolkit, and then whether I can start creating the applications. So I am going to run the prerequisite checker. So it will check whether the required softwares and the prerequisites are installed. Here you can notice that Node.js v18.15 is installed. So, so we are done with the prerequisites. Now we are going to create a new app. So just click on the button on the left side, create new app. It will show you two options. I'm going to create a new Teams app. So what we are going to try is this one, this tab, Hello World Web Pages Enabled embedded in Microsoft Teams tab. So this is the sample we are going to try. And then it is asking me the programming language that we need. So I'm going to select TypeScript. And then it is asking me for the folder path, and then my app name, Teams app name. All the required code is generated. I'm not going to walk through the each and every file and everything. So since we are completely going to focus on deploying the Teams app, deployment using the toolkit alone today. Now I am going to the Teams toolkit. To test this scenario, we need two main things. One is Microsoft 365 account to publish the Teams app, and then to deploy our code or the assemblies into the cloud, we need a Azure cloud subscription. So first, I'm going to sign into my Microsoft 365 tenant. So you can notice that I have signed into an Office 365 account. Now I need to sign into an Azure account. So I have signed into the Azure account also. So these are the main two things that we require. And then here you can notice that the M365 tenant has side loading enabled. Let me show you what is side loading. So side loading is something where if your admin is allowing you to upload your custom apps into the tenant, then that means if the custom app is allowed in your tenant, then the side loading is enabled. So what you need to do is that go to the Teams Admin Center. Under Teams app, go to Manage Apps and click on Org-wide App Settings. Here you can notice that custom apps, an option for custom apps. Just turn it on, and then go to permission policies, app permission policies, and there you need to go to the org-wide global policy. There you need to check if the custom apps is enabled or not. Yeah, that's it. So basically, we need to make sure the custom apps is enabled in the org-wide settings and in the permission policies. So these are the two things we need to keep in mind. So we have the side loading enabled with we have the M365 account and then Azure account to test it further. So we already created this sample. I have all the files and everything ready. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to build this application. It will take some moment. Let's wait till this complete. After this step, that is after building our sample app, what we will be doing is that we will be provisioning the Azure resources, and then we will be deploying the the built-in code to the those Azure resources, required Azure resources. So in the Teams toolkit, you can notice that the entire flow from development to publishing into the Teams store, is everything, the steps are clearly mentioned for you. So we have the created the code, and then the next step we are going to provision it, and then after provisioning it, we are going to deploy our code to the cloud, and then publishing it to the Teams. So it is well guided. If you are using Teams Toolkit, it is well guided for your first learning experience for a Teams app. I think it may take some more time. Okay, the build process is completed. Since it is taking time, I'm going for the provisioning part, provisioning the cloud resources. So to start with creating the required cloud resources, I'm going to create a new resource group. Uh, so I'm going to selecting the region. The provisioning of the cloud resources started. Here you can notice that the resource group that I have mentioned is started created. My first Teams tab app. And then here an ASUS storage account will be provisioned. So let's wait for that. So you can notice that storage of the managed account identity is created. Next, the storage account will be created. Yeah, storage account is also created, and it will be empty for now. First, if I go to the container, it will be empty. Uh, so the provisioning part is completed. Now we are going to deploy the code that we have, the tab app going to be deployed in that provisioned Azure resources. Sorry, the build process is taking some more time. Please bear with me.
That's the usual process, Nasima. Usually, whenever the build and it takes time, I think it's the first time setup process. So once your app is used to it, things get a bit easy. But I'm really happy the way the team toolkit is kind of providing this provisioning of the setup part, or everything looks simple. So yeah, in the meantime, if you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section. If it's for Lee or Narasimha or any general related questions to Microsoft Teams. And also, I would love to announce there is another uh, bi-weekly session happening on April 18th. Again, that's going to be virtual, live, and we would have again MVPs talking about how to build tabs, bots, which is the path which we covered in the learn path. And so you will definitely be able to view them. So I will be sharing the link very shortly. So if you are interested to learn more about the Teams toolkit and how to extend apps or migrate apps or anything related to building Teams app, definitely it's a session to be watched. So Narasimha, it's up again, I think.
Yeah, it's up.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, you can notice that the code, the assemblies, everything got published to the Azure storage account, and then now we have provisioned the resource, cloud resource, and then we have deployed all our assemblies into the cloud, and then now I am going to publish this to the team store. So I just click the publish into team store. I'm going to install it for my organization. So it is publishing to the team store. Okay, so you can notice that it is published to the admin portal. So the admin need to approve that further to make it available to all your users. So now I am on the admin portal, Teams Admin Center. So you can notice that one app is pending for approval. I am going to search for that app name. Here you can notice that it is waiting for publish. I'm going to publish it. So my Teams, this sample web app, Teams tab app has been published. Now let's try to add it to the team. So the app that we have published. Oh my God. Sorry, I don't know what went wrong. So this is the app, the same copy that I have published for my initial demo. So this is the one that I have. So what it will do is that it will show an tab. So here you can see the tab has been shown, and then it has some simple static content. So my idea is that how you can use the Teams toolkit, how you can deploy the required Azure resources and code to the Azure using from the Teams toolkit itself, and then publishing it to the Teams store, to your Teams store for your tenant. So now we have on to the final part. So initially we have seen how you can create a app and then deploying it and publishing it to the team store. Now let's see how you can manage it. For example, so there are three kind of apps in Teams. One is Microsoft or first-party apps, the apps that are provided by Microsoft itself. For example, Planner, PowerPoint, Word, OneNote. Those apps that are you are adding and using it day to day within your teams are provided by Microsoft, which are called first-party apps. And then the third-party apps like Trello or some other third-party vendors who provide Teams app, and then the custom apps that you build and then you are deploying it for your internal organization alone. Those are called custom apps. So you can select what are if you want to allow the Microsoft apps or if you want to block it, you can do that. And then similarly, if you want to allow all the third-party apps or if you want to allow only the set of third-party tested third-party apps alone, then you can do that. For example, you can allow a specific apps alone. Like for example, I can allow Trello alone. Then I can select Trello and then I can allow that. Similarly, custom apps also. This is one part. By this way, you can manage the apps for your organization. And another thing is that here you can notice that this is the Teams. I'm on Teams web, and then here you can notice that I have added my custom app here. For example, this will be the case in most of the tenants or the organizations. For example, uh, they want to quickly access the organizational apps. How they can do that? By pinning the required apps here. To do this, we have a separate policy called app setup policies. Here, I can create required. Now I am under the organizational wide org wide policy. Here you can see that I have customized the Teams left toolbar. I have inserted the Teams app and then I have removed the calls app here. By this way, you can customize whatever app each of your users required. You can do that. For example, you can create a different policy for business users, or you can have a different policy for your accounts department, or here for your HR department, you can have a different policy. Like this, you can start customizing the toolbar also. By this way, you can make your users to start using the apps that you have developed for your organizations. Okay. So I don't have a very long resource types. So if you go to the Microsoft Learn, this simple URL will take you to everything. It is very simple and cool. Thank you.
All right, Narasimha, thank you so much for the session where it kind of gave a deep dive into how to start an app from scratch, build it, deploy it, and manage it, and how Teams Toolkit is actually helping us do this in a few clicks. I think that you actually did not do much of coding or much of customization, but to start, it was so simple and it is kind of leveraging that process for us. So definitely, I think audience who are interested to start somewhere, I think this will be one of the kickstart sessions. And also, I lead the Learn Path module where you have the step-by-step path where you can learn about it. And thank you so much. But I do have a question. So the question is like, can you change uh, other business or organization can view your employee status online, offline, busy? Could you show the settings for that? So I'll
Uh,
repeat that. Can you
mm.
change the business or organization and can view the employee status,
Okay, I think he is asking from the
the managing of your app
yeah
section? Yeah.
managing of the app, or I don't know. He is speaking about. this one BC available, and he wants to know a report of what is the status of each of the users. I'm
Yeah,
not clear on the.
whether yeah, he also says, can you view your employee status whether online, offline, or busy?
Yeah,
So,
for that we need to just go to the chat, or I need to go to that particular user and hover to see what is the status like that. That is the only possibility. Or we have the Teams Graph API
mhm.
for this status check. You can build an app and then you can hold the status. What is the current status like that? And then you can have a dashboard in Power BI or somewhere and you can check it. That's the only way today we have. Either hover over that particular user or use the Graph APIs for this
Oh,
purpose. After the meeting, I will share the link to Kamal. She may post it through the email, the specific Graph API.
yeah. So I hope the question was answered. In case if you think you need more insight on this question, I'll definitely leave Narasimha Perumal's social handle. You can ping him, or you can come up with the question in more detail. And yeah, Dave, we're going to share the slides with you, the links, and even the recording would be available on the YouTube, so you can rewatch it in case you've missed out any of the parts. So the links will be shared to you. And I think, Nasima, we have another question, which is like, uh, generally, in general, if I already have an app, so do you think is this the same process even for managing, deploying, and publishing, or is it a different way to do?
The process today I have used Microsoft Teams Toolkit. For suppose if you already have the app ready, in that case,
Mm-hmm.
we need you the flow will be going to be somewhat different. You may be using Visual Studio, and then we are going to use Azure DevOps to publish all the apps. So in that case, you will be creating an web app manually or through some provisioning templates in the Azure, and then you are having an Azure DevOps pipeline, everything ready. So
Mm-hmm.
you will be linking that, and then you will be publishing that. So it will be somewhat a different flow. Today,
Okay.
our focus is that we want to kickstart the Teams toolkit. How simple it is, how you can have a first baby step to the Teams App Store. How you may start feeling that how I have just created an app and then I have published it. How quick I have done, how simple it is that we want to
Indeed.
showcase that and we want to make you feel how simple it is, and then you can start if you maybe we can have a separate session on that part also.
Definitely,
Maybe
definitely agree.
if possible I will share the links if something is
Sh-
available.
Sure, Narsimha. I think this was a kickstart and a starting point. Definitely, we'll have a few more sessions based on this. So, if you have a web application or an existing application and you want to publish, deploy, what is the process? So, we can take a simple app and we can show you in the upcoming session. So, let us know about it in the comment section of the YouTube or this comment section, and we will know if you're interested to work on this. And yeah, Narasimha, thank you so much again for being on this, and glad to have you here and looking forward for more collaborations with you as well.
Okay, thank you, Kamal. Thank you all for joining this session. Thank you. Bye.
Yeah. So, so I think we've come to the end of the session. I'm not going to take too much of your time. So this was the first session after the inauguration of the Teams Elite. So we are kickstarted with Teams Toolkit Tuesday. So the next session will be on April 18th, and we will dive deep more into the Teams Toolkit part. And we have the links posted, which is the next event. So please register if you haven't registered one. The link is available on the screen. So register, and looking forward to see you all in the next session. And if you have any questions, leave a comment, and looking for all your support. And thank you, Lee, and thank you, Narasimha, and the Reactor team for supporting all this. Thank you so much. Have a great evening.